Let's fix them in here.
We're back. So, yeah, you were about to do a thing, Kristen Rama.
Yeah, we're about to have fucking team action or some shit.
We're all standing around a weird big menhir in the middle of a broken temple.
A giant rock.
Yeah.
Weird bad menhir.
And we're doing ballet warm-ups. And basically the two of them, I think one of them starts like pseudo ballroom dancing with Adna.
Cool.
And there's this whole weird experience of like the two, like Kristen Romer continually like switching, and you kind of lose track of which one you're dancing with after a certain point.
That's good. She just runs with it.
And then like it's clear that there's this other person that's kind of like both of them but not, that you're dancing with, and then suddenly you're dancing on your own because you're all this like weird amalgam person.
Cool. Like a physical amalgam?
Yeah, like you're all existing in the same body.
Yeah, wow. And
so
the
it's
first
like
time we've like encountered this?
I think so. So I have to transcend to make this happen. So we've done that. And yeah, they're like a little bit glowy and very like tall and long of limb and move very gracefully. But then like they have some feature of Adna's, like maybe her super awesome hair or something.
Cool.
Yeah, just like kind of suddenly spills out from this person's head.
Awesome.
And the three of them together are going to try to move this giant rock as just like a single person.
Amazing.
Because presumably we're going to be real strong or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
By our powers combined.
By your powers combined.
We're going to just defy the heck out of this rock.
You can defy the rock. Okay,
yes.
Cool. Yeah.
We're just going to like remove it from this place. Like Romer, or was it Hrist said, it's like pulling a tooth.
If you are defying, then I think this is a risky. You are transformed, so I think that's probably risky standard.
Okay, cool.
Andrew,
because if you'd been going with yeah, that's fine.
Andrew, trade position for a fact.
I mean,
go desperate.
You know you want to.
You know you want to.
Lay some devil's bargains on me first, or some dark bargains rather.
How does the teamwork thing work first?
So as long as you are transcended, while I am transcended, and we are doing a group action, I can roll the highest action rating amongst all participants instead of my own, or help from a transcended teammate grants an additional die. So I can get 2 dice from you if you're helping me, or if it's a group action, we can, like if your stat is higher, we can both roll it. I think you helping me is actually the more efficient option.
Yep.
Here.
Sounds
the
great.
fiction looks the same.
Yep.
Unless other people are pitching in and helping, in which case we can make a group action of it.
That's the question.
I think I might have a devil's bargain.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of nice that it's the 2 people from the colonizing empire that are
doing the work.
fixing this thing. We're doing some reparation.
Yeah, I feel like it's more that Swift and I are there to deal with any spiritual mumbo jumbo that might happen as a result of your.
We're the boots on the ground moving things
around. We're the reserve. Yeah, we're in reserve.
We're trying to keep an eye on stuff. Yeah, I think that's.
Devil's bargain. Go out through the graveyard.
What?
Sorry, Ash?
Devil's bargain. Go out through the graveyard. Maybe like some graves might have to be moved a bit.
I'm open to other options.
Alternate devil's bargain. We talked last session. Someone is going to have to refresh my memory, even though I made up this bullshit. I totally remember something about me predicting that your dark future of tragically dying was about your identity becoming fragmented and fractured.
Yeah, did we start a clock about that?
I believe we started a clock about that. So my dark bargain is that some portion of you like becomes like an Adna like shape forms in like your mental space in your gallery of roles, and like some part of you is like invested in it and cannot be separated from it, and like the fracturing continues to grow.
Here's the thing, Luke, is that we have a promise to always hold Adna's beauty above all others, and especially our own. So I feel like I have to take this.
And I have a promise to keep you two together.
Yeah, which, you know, we'll always be together if we're both forever just playing the role of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. The best dark bargain is one that they're not gonna refuse.
Yep.
Is that a fair one to you, Ash?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you
so
have a
yeah.
clock for that you're tracking? Like
I don't
my
have a clock for it. Do you want to have a clock for it
dissolving-
on your sheet?
I believe from memory we
We have a
opened
clock
one and put a
section
tick
the
on it
sheet,
last
don't we?
time.
I didn't
Okay,
do
well
that.
I will add it, and this is the
I think
dissolving
it's the second tick.
the dissolving of our identity.
Yeah.
And it'll be 2 out of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember us having a conversation about how large the clock should be last time, and I don't remember if we settled on 8 or 12.
Actually, that's a question. The stuff that came out of me touching the stone, you know how we were saying that
Yeah.
might be a sort of like
a good
muddling
point, that
of my
should be a clock
memories.
as well.
Should that be a clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many bits should that have?
The clock is called assimilation.
I was
Yes,
going
it
to call it I was going to call it civilized, but yeah.
No, assimilation is
Assimilation.
really...
Ash and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
I like the idea of this
Like
one being a
6?
tug of war, where it's
Oh, yeah,
a
that's
big clock that starts half filled, and if you can empty it, you're good. But if it doesn't,
Oh.
right, it's one of those, and like it's a constant
Yeah.
to
Yeah, do you want
represent
to
this
make it
back
a
and forth
12-tick
struggle.
clock started at 6, you just advanced at 1 to 7.
Yeah.
That seems
12.
cool.
That's right.
12 tick.
It's a
Yeah.
12 size clock.
Mm-hmm. And it's at 6.
It's-
Oh no, it's
it's at
now
7
at
now.
7.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep, love it. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
And it's
Yeah,
and
and
it's just mostly about you understanding and like being convinced of the thinking ways of the Bastion, right? Like
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
time you're
you're
exposed to
slowly
why
losing.
and all those things, yeah.
Yeah. And
Every
yeah,
time
from
the
memory,
Bastion
I
makes
think
sense. Yeah.
I think we said Andrews was a 12 count, but I don't totally remember.
I think that's an 8 count.
I think 8 is delightful. That means it's
Yeah.
already 1/4 of the way full.
All right,
I mean, I'm
So-
only using 12 here because it's 6 in 2 directions.
that's true.
So, yeah, I think when we come out of this, we'll probably both have Adna's hair still.
Oh,
It's gonna
Yes.
be creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
So good.
They're just gonna steal your swag. So I'm getting help. That counts for 2 dice. I'm getting a dark bargain die for a 3rd one, and then I'm rolling my defy of 1.
Damn. Desperate great.
Does hoping
Yeah,
here
well-
count as a transcendent action for me?
Nope.
Yes.
But
Oh,
you
no?
do need to
Okay.
transcend.
Yeah.
You need to be
you're-
transcended, but
You're on the clock now.
Cool.
And I will go desperate great. Because we're moving this enormous rock, and it's cursed, and it's just
Yeah.
a terrible idea.
It's a lot.
yeah, and like the thing is, what you're doing is you're pouring not only your physical strength into it, but like your emotional investment into its movement.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, this matters because we actually do give a crap about making reparations as well. So
Yeah. And then and then
A
there's
lot
those
on the
social and
line.
cultural elements as well.
Right.
there's a lot on the line, and we get a 4.
Oh,
I got 2
no.
4s. So it's kind of like a crit.
Oh.
Or it's
yeah.
fine.
So, let's talk about
Let's talk about ghosts. Hey.
ghosts. Let's talk about the names on the pillar on the menhir, and like I think you have a deep sense of like as you move this, you can move you can almost feel the intent behind it. There's so much, like I think as you're moving it, it has a bit of that thing of like that the relics and engines have, right? In that it's got this emotional imbuement that when you're moving it, you start to feel it being like, hey, do you want to be an engine? Do you want to, right? Like, but not a full one. Just, there's so much anger that was like put into the creation of this. There's like, you are moving this thing that was put here as like a fuck you. And I'm going to say, like, because the thing here is that these people in... Do you want to go, Luke?
I have a thought,
Yeah.
like a suggestion, just to put it out there. They are touching the rock. The rock has runes on it. They're both public figures who do a lot of being seen around the bastion. If it branded them forever with the names of those who their culture, like, massacred, there would be a certain poetic irony in making everyone in the bastion look at that when they look at their perfect idol heroes.
I'm gonna remember you said this.
I mean, that
It's
sounds
like
cool
putting-
then.
Just a thought.
Look, I still got a 4. I didn't.
Yeah, no,
fail
exactly.
that
No,
for
that's what I'm
real.
saying. I think the thing is that you're going to have to like rest after this pretty heavily. You feel disgusted with yourself for like even allowing this to happen, right? Because
And I think
like
they're-
you feel your people's like anger, and I think you just have this like momentary flash of like 24 men taking a do we have guns? Is that a thing?
I don't think we have guns. I think we got like medieval
Crossbows.
warfare,
Okay.
like bows, swords.
Okay,
axes.
yeah. 24
Like crossbows, for
crossbowmen
sure.
turning their crossbows up, and just like bastion people, like turning it
Oh,
up
like
and
the
firing it through
people
their
that did
jaw.
this killed themselves.
Yeah, those people, the bastion people that like these 24 soldiers or whatever, like shoot themselves through the head, and that is the crime, and like for some reason that is the reason that like this anger is imbued in it. It's revenge for the fact that these people killed themselves.
Can you resist something that happens at a 4?
Yes, you can.
So take level 3 harm, self-loading.
Andrew,
Yes.
I am considering resisting on your behalf because that's the thing you can do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially as the guardian. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you have to use
story-wise, what I'm thinking is maybe like Adna takes the emotional blow, just so you still get the story stuff of having seen those things.
Oh
etc.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, cool. Okay,
I was
great.
definitely thinking that I was gonna check in with you, but that like we all start crying and like
Yeah.
lamenting this thing, like they start speaking this poem that they've never heard before about like dead soldiers or something.
Is there a thing here where like I love Adna taking the blow of like the emotional blow in conjunction with like Kristen Rama's thing of being actors, because is it like they get so caught up in like the dramatic, like this thing is so dramatic that they kind of are just enjoying like acting the
It's
sadness?
performative. It's performative.
Emotion flows
Yeah.
out of them, right? They're able to cope by letting it slip, but Adna is so like pure and heartfelt that she actually
Sucks
just
it
like
in.
sponge for it.
They're like an empty vessel.
Yeah.
Sadness
I mean-
pours
Oh,
in,
she is.
sadness pours back out.
So
You are more than welcome to take
Cool. I
this
will
one
say.
for
That
me
sounds
and
good.
resist it.
just so I can be a little bit more clear, because I think I didn't explain that very well. I did, like Emily was looking confused. If this is a conversation, the stone says, "I'm angry. This is like this. You don't move me because fuck these people." And if you ask why, it shows you they did this, and then shows you the bastion people shooting themselves.
Right,
So-
it's like offended that they would take their own lives in some way.
Because they didn't even sort of take responsibility, or they were. Is it
So
like the kind of
Surt's people somehow made the
Magical.
bastion people kill themselves. And that's the crime that this is a
Oh.
retaliation for.
So the stone perceives that their deaths were the fault of.
Yeah,
Like-
we like that. We got
Yeah.
cursed by the.
Huh. Right,
Yeah.
got it.
We did nothing wrong, and then we got cursed by these savages, and they killed
Got it.
fine,
So we walked in
upstanding
and
soldiers.
killed
How
everyone.
dare they?
Yeah.
So is
Okay.
it meaningful for me to actually roll resist, or is this
That's
just
up to
purely a
you.
story thing?
Do we think that that's an appropriate thing for there to be a
There should totally be emotional harm for this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, like it's Girl by Moonlight. Like it's
yeah.
and whether it's like self-loathing or like crushing guilt
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
One thing I've been playing around with as well is giving people like emotions that they have to deal with before they can do other stuff. So just being like, yeah, you have a 4 count clock. That's
Oh, yeah,
your
yeah, like the-
crippling grief or whatever.
That's
kind of
like
kind
that
of like
for
the
this
kind of like the
situation,
ghost thing in like the Blades thing with ghosts, where you have to like deal with the
have to, like,
ghostiness
wrestle it
of them
off. Yeah.
before you can. It's just like, oh, it's a ghost, and you got to process
Cool.
that first.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a I think that's a clock that's going to happen, right? Like is like inundated with like
Bad
rage
feels.
or whatever. Bad feels.
Does being transcendent
Confusing-
affect resistance?
Confusing bad spite.
I don't know if we have anything that improves our resistance while we're transcended.
I don't believe so.
Don't think so.
Certainly, like if we weren't transcended and trying to move this rock, I feel like Ash could just be like, "Cool, roll to resist to even try to do that."
Yeah, totally.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I would have
like-
done that.
it would-
Roll
That's
to
the thing
resist,
that I
you
would-
drop it, and it
Yeah.
breaks your feet.
I'm thinking this is Kudere.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd rather go with one of the others.
It kind of
but-
feels like despair and heartbreak.
Yeah, it sounds like Moe. Yeah.
Oh, is that Moe? Great.
This is some Moe shit right here.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and like, I think it's one of those things where being affected by it is actually the right response.
Yeah.
Right? And that Adna might actually like cry for these people and feel genuinely sad and remorseful in a way that if someone else tried not to, it would really get them down. But she's able to,
yeah.
I don't know, process her feelings in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Or something. Sounds weird.
Sounds wild.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
Could be worse.
Yeah. So you take 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to put a clock on you. You can just have a cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like talking these poems, speaking in chorus, of course.
Yeah.
And then the like little Adna inside is just like weeping, and it's her tears that are coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still joined?
They're still joined. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just like lugging this rock, or like I think we drag it along the
drag it,
floor. It's
yeah.
like totally.
And like just like knock some of the pews aside as you're doing it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the like classic, all those images of like the like Sisyphus pushing the stone up the hill or whatever. Like we look like one of those.
Yeah.
Like relief sculptures or whatever, but we get the thing outside and it like flops over onto its side with this dull thud.
I think
then-
it falls into like a drainage ditch, right? That like surrounds the
Oh,
thing,
so
and just like there's all
totally
this like
outside.
mud goes everywhere.
And yeah, the 3 of us just like kind of fall into a pile
Mm-hmm.
with Kristen Romer like on their knees, like
Yeah.
doing the whole like exaggerated lamenting.
Yeah, tearing at their clothes and their hair.
and then her hair, which is now Adna's hair, and they're like tearing at it. Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, Adna's just sobbing and like trying to get back up on her feet, but not succeeding.
Cool. It's outside.
And
And
I
it's
think
not
I like.
in the graveyard.
Nope.
Did they move it?
It's in a ditch.
I think. I think Swift like indicates to Och like after you.
And she's and like she beams. She's like real happy that, especially that like that it was
That they took
those 3.
responsibility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And she's like, they're good kids, good kids. And like and she heads inside and starts like, I think like clucking her tongue as she's like.
Yeah, like it's just all going to shit in here. It's in real bad shape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and she's like
Yeah.
looking around and getting a feel for the place.
I feel like Swift. Oh no, you go.
No, that's right. I was just gonna say I think I go outside to find the other 3, but do what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I think as Och is doing that, I think Swift is like cleaning the altars. like is like very carefully like lifting the lotuses out of like the sacred trough into like puddles of water on the floor where they'll stay alive but where they aren't like clogging it up anymore.
Yep.
And like transplanting them, and then goes over to like the brazier and like takes the bird nest and finds a tree to put it in, and like brushes out everything and like builds a little fire, like a little, you know, like teepee of sticks and stuff in there. And it's just like putting it into a more ready to worship state. Because she's assuming that the next thing that Ock is gonna do, that we're gonna do, is like reconsecrate this place.
Yeah.
And Ash, it's up to you if that requires an action roll.
I mean,
If it
here's the
does, I
thing.
feel like it's flow, which I
you
have
can-
now.
You can choose to take an action
Yep.
here, which will put you in a better position later if you do it.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
setup. Yeah.
I think that it's controlled at the moment.
Yep. Let me just have a quick look at a thing. Oh shit. Yeah, I might actually. You know, I think I'm gonna transcend
Okay.
before I start doing this.
What does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like? Outside of the, because so, yeah, like outside of the context of the engine, because I don't think like the engine, I like the engine is not involved. Like it's still just like a bow stick thing. And I think Swift's hair like catches fire, not like literally, right, but like it all of this like brilliant crimson hair like starts to like float up in defiance of gravity, and is just kind of like moving in like an unseen, like she's underwater, and it's just being like swayed in a current, and it's like almost like radiantly glowing like it's on fire. And I think her tattoos like start to move and like writhe across and around her skin, like as she is acting, just like this slow crawl of like bright emerald green and like deep like woad blue, just like all over her like pale skin. And I think like the two voices thing now is like totally in effect, and she almost like at times leaves like a weird like ghostly after image after her, as though there's like a second her following like a split second behind.
I like the idea of the ghostly after images, like that they're doing slightly different things. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, exactly,
I could have
totally.
done this and moved this way.
Yeah,
So like
it's
sometimes
the
they'll, like,
time stream, right? Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. Yeah, and so it's like three like slightly overlapping like transparent swifts, like each doing different jobs to like ready the brazier and stuff. Yeah, that's what that looks like. And I am going to flow and embody my role as like a crazy shaman and speaker to the gods. My position, you said controlled?
Yep.
Effect?
In this situation, if you're transcending to do it, I think
Yep.
maybe what's the one above standard?
Right?
Great.
Cool. And I have one bonus dice because we are celestial wayfinders and we get +1 die to flow when we are transcendent.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And I'm gonna cross my fingers. Yes.
Very nice. Yeah. You make
That's
this,
more like it.
you make this a sacred space, right? Like
Cool.
this is now a place of worship, right? It is now
Yeah.
like you've effectively consecrated it yourself. Well, no, like you've made it
Yeah.
consecrated, not dealt with whatever the residual thing is.
Yeah. No.
It
Totally.
seems kind of like consecrated, not blessed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Consecrated,
Yeah,
not
and-
exercised.
Yeah, and I think like we see, because she's like transcendent, right? Like after like she finishes like moving the you know the lotuses out of like the font, I think she like goes through some ritual of her people And the image that I have in my head is the ritual you do outside a Shinto shrine before you go in, where you like wash your hands.
Washing the hands. Yeah.
Yeah, and then wash your mouth out. And so it's that, and like as she like touches the water, like it just like goes like crystal clear, like almost by magic. And like as when she finishes building the little like teepee, it just like catches on fire of its own accord from within. And the smoke is like in this like weird spiral pattern like around the rafters. And yeah, I think when she's done, she just like bows to Ok, as though to say like it now, like this, you know, the space, like what do you need done now, like.
She's I think she just like is very impressed, right? And she's like, good. And she's like I will provide the chant, but I am not an angel like you. And like collectively, I think she do.
Like us the group. As
she's
a,
like, the work here is yours. I can only provide guidance. And I think she like goes to the center of the thing, and just starts like high pitched wail, right?
Yeah.
Like just as high as she can go, as loud as she can, and like it's musical, but piercing.
I'm going to like that like really Mediterranean like in folk music thing of like the ululating like wailing caterwauling thing.
Yeah, sort of like that.
Yeah, like that's the thing that I'm
picturing. And she's like and she's providing this, and it's got a rhythm that you can follow, and all of these sorts of things. She's providing a kind of a central focus for the work to be done here. And I think even as she's doing that, like, you sense movement amongst the pews.
Yeah. And so I think like very like slowly and deliberately and like in like a ritual fashion, I think Swift like exits through the grave side of the building and calls out to Surt.
I was gonna say,
and the
I
others.
think.
Yeah, and I think there's probably a thing that has happened in the intervening moments, but I think that's.
I was gonna say, I think by the time you sort of come out, at least I'm like heading back in because I've heard the sort of wailing start. But yeah, I think in the intervening time, I've sort of gone out to where the three of them are like kind of, you know, collapsed and lamenting next to this stone in a ditch, and.
You make it sound so glamorous.
I'm very sort of business like it's I think it's kind of like weird in this space, but maybe not weird for Surt. But like he comes out and, you know, and is sort of goes like right over to them and is like, "Is everyone okay? Are you hurt?" And is just sort of like trying to assess where everyone is at, and is like just completely ignoring the fact that you're all crying. Like he's just trying to ascertain, are you crying because you're injured? You know?
Yeah.
Chris helps Ramar up, and by the time they're both standing, they're one person again, and they're not crying anymore.
Yeah, cool.
I think they're busy like tying up all this hair they have now. They're like trying to get it into a bun or something.
Yeah, I sort of like look at it, but then don't comment on it.
Adna gets up and like looks up at Sir through like tear-lined eyes, composes herself, asks, "Is there anything else we need to do, sir?"
And like when you sort of say that, like he kind of like seems a little like relieved, you know, that like you seem to be okay.
You've
and
stopped
he's like,
leaking from your eyes.
and he's like, "Well done. That looks difficult." And I think like I feel like there's not actually like a whole sort of. Well, I guess there is time because like there's all the time in which Swift like has been tidying, but like I don't know, I sort of almost want like that to be the point where the wailing happens. Is like, you know, is there anything we need to do? And then like the wailing starts up.
Yeah,
You know, that's
That
like
totally happens.
a little.
I think it's reasonable for like Swift's cleaning to have happened almost supernaturally.
Yeah, look, there's
quickly.
multiple
or,
selves.
yeah.
There's multiple
Flow.
selves working. It's a very fast process.
Yeah.
Or maybe I like went out of the temple site later or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so this wailing picks up.
Yeah, and then I think this is the point at which like Swift steps out into view and is like, There's more to be done inside. Come.
Is that good wailing? Or is that bad wailing?
It sounds bad.
It's good.
Can't tell.
Well, it's both, but it's what needs to be done, I think.
I had no idea these things were so complicated.
Precious child.
Yeah, I think I like kind of walk purposely inside, and I like kind of hesitate for a minute before like walking up to Ock, and I think I like now here's where I'm wondering if I can introduce that this clock, but like I'm thinking like I sort of walk up to her and I do a kind of gesture that is like, you know, similar to a bow, but I don't think it is a bow. That is specifically for, you know, showing respect to an elder in a spiritual space.
Context.
Yeah, context.
But it's the wrong gesture.
I don't think this is the wrong gesture. I think that bit like is okay. But I think there's actually like this sort of strange moment where like and I'm curious to know, Ash, like how you think she would respond here, but I would love it if it was something like you know, I do this gesture and she kind of brings me into the space to like help sing, and when I like open my mouth to try to do, you know, the like join the chant, that's when I get stuck. And like she has to kind of like guide me,
Teach you like you were a baby.
through like what note am I meant to be holding and how is the sound meant to happen, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you?
My question is, what is your intention with singing? What do you? What should singing do?
What action is
What?
this?
In general, including what she's doing.
Yeah. Well,
What do you mean?
she's acting as the guide, right? Like she's acting as the thing that makes whatever's happening here easier, more possible.
Right. Got it. Yeah.
But you have to choose what you're doing.
I think we're inviting the spirits from the graveyard into the space.
Cool.
Like, not necessarily like, come in here, ghosts, and, you know, be visible and spook around, but like, we're sort of saying to them, like, okay, it's fine now, you can come back in, like, in that they are supposed to be in here.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to inhabit this space, and they're currently not.
Yeah.
So letting them know that it's safe,
Yeah.
I think that's what I feel like
Cool. Yeah.
we're trying to do.
What action do you think that is?
I feel like it could be empathize, it could be confess.
Flow.
Yeah, it could be flow. Yeah, it could be flow actually.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of flow in this scene.
Mm.
Like, it feels like that's very much what is being
Because it's more like we're kind of like it's. I assume it's a thing that the spirits want to do. We're not trying to convince them to come into the space. We're like facilitating their return.
Yeah.
Do we think that could be flow?
Yeah. Yeah. If that's
Or is it-
if that's what you
It's a
feel.
tricky one.
If that's what you feel.
Yeah. Okay.
Only you can decide, player of your character.
I think that this
Now, a
is.
character's a lot of responsibility, Emily. Don't let it starve or make a bad choice.
Yeah. Don't
No, let it
don't
make
treat
lots
it
of
like
bad choices.
don't treat it like a Tamagotchi.
This is risky.
Sure.
And
And I think there's
risky standard.
risky standard. All right. Yeah, and I think there's definitely like a thing here where like aside from the weird confusion of like, oh, I feel like I should be able to remember the words here, but I don't quite remember them. I think for maybe people looking from the outside, it just kind of appears as though, you know, this is sort of standard like cert awkwardness, like you know, like when he begins to sing, his voice is very rusty. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like he has used it in this way. he seems uncomfortable, but like he just thinks that this is a thing that he needs to do because who else is going to do this at this time? So yeah, he's sort of got that kind of thing. Ugh, I'm so bad today. Free. I'm rusty. I've forgotten this. I don't remember how it's supposed to go.
It's not great, friend.
If they were to come in here, like I think they communicate, right? Like if they were to come in here, they would have to first let go of this, of their, like your people's spirits would have to let go of their anger for the like destruction of their village, right?
They
Yeah.
don't know if they're ready.
And I'm the wrong person to tell them how to do that. Like, that just makes sense to me, right? I'm like, yeah, no. Letting go of
also
anger, how would you
angry.
do that? Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like I think
Like,
that's it. Like I understand that that's what they need to do, but
every man, woman, non-binary person and child in this town was like executed.
Yep.
This is a,
Yeah. So I feel like as this has been going on, Swift has led Hrist and Rama and Adna like inside, and like through the proper rituals of like entering the place. So like all of us have gone over to the water basin and like ritually like cleansed our hands so that we will like take no harmful action in our mouths, so that we will speak no words of harm, and like our eyes so we will see no. And then like we all go over to like the other side where the brazier is burning, and like I think like take some hair and like throw it in there to burn, to like symbolize letting go of like like old things that are harmful, and then like waft some smoke over ourselves to like bless. And so like I have been like leading them in so that they are like as they belong in this space as much as will ever be possible for people who are not part of this spiritual tradition, on more levels than just the obvious. Yeah. And then I have a thing I want to do, but it feels like maybe it is time for a break. So
it's a good time for a break.
Yep.
Let's take a break. Back in a minute, chat.